Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Johnny from Feral Fantasy Baseball, here joined with Matt. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing good. A lot better than this point last week.
Yeah, last week was a tough week, that's for sure. Quite frankly, this week hasn't been much better for me, but, we're plugging away. I've had the stomach bug in my household. Thankfully, I've stayed, not ill so far, but I can't say as much for anybody else in the house.
Yeah, well, we haven't had any of that, luckily. I was just talking last week at this point. I was watching it pour when I had a big party planned for Saturday, so now I don't have anything planned. I've got a nice, easy weekend, and I'm ready to go.
An easy weekend.
Yeah, well, you had to have kids, didn't you? Huh?
Yeah, wouldn't trade them for the world, but yep. Anyways, we're going to talk some prospects, both recent call-ups and some maybe future additions. Talk some waiver wire. Obviously, we have to talk injuries because we can't avoid them. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about some of our preseason projections. Specifically today, I want to talk about some pitchers that, some deep pitchers that we thought might be promising. Those things sound like good topics to talk about tonight, Matt.
Sound good to me.
All right.
I was looking over some of my projections, and some good, some bad. I guess that's how it goes.
Yeah, I was looking over mine. I saw a lot of good ones, but I didn't take notice of any bad ones.
You didn't?
Oh,
really? I have yours right here. I noticed some bad ones, but anyways.
No. Did you notice I said I didn't take notice of any?
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I'm here for, to point them out.
Yeah. I'll intentionally skip right over those. All right. So, do you want to talk about? Let's start with some recently called up players. I guess we might as well start off with King of the Mountain there. Matter of fact, he kind of is the mountain, but that's Vlad Jr. He has not been the Vlad Jr. that everybody had hoped to see in his ascent to the majors. I don't know what he did today, but he's, 3 for 18 so far with no production at all?
I believe he got the night off tonight.
Oh, well, that's deserved.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean...
He had an at-bat today. He went 0 for 1.
Oh, so he pinch hit.
Yeah. So, now he's 3 for 19. Any concern, or this is just a slow start for a guy that we know is going to be good?
Yeah, zero concern.
I couldn't agree more.
I don't think he's going to be sent back down like, you remember, like anybody. He's up for good now, I believe, anyway. So they're just going to keep running him out there. It's not like they're playing for a championship or anything, so there's no reason not to keep him in the lineup.
I agree.
Unless he eats himself out of, I saw a commercial today about his father talking about when he was born and everything, and then showing pictures of having him on the field. It must be a father-son day and stuff. It was pretty cool, actually. And then it showed, Senior, hitting the ball and stuff, and then it showed Vlad waddling up to the plate. I swear it was the first time I really paid attention to really how, kind of, big he is. Actually looking he kind of looks a lot like Miguel Sano. Like, I believe we said that before, but I didn't realize how much he does look like him.
Yeah.
Hope he doesn't get a cut on his foot. He'll be out for 6 months.
At the same age, Sano was thinner than Guerrero is. So that makes me concerned a little bit. I saw Sano played in Hartford when he was in Double-A, and I went to see him several times, and he was a big boy, but he was not as big as Vlad Jr. is. So
yeah,
that's it definitely, long term, I'm concerned. You know, in his early 20s, he'll be fine. But, you know, Dynasty League type concerns, if he doesn't watch his body and how fat he could get, definitely, some concerns there. I guess the advantage...
When you're,
go ahead.
Well, when you're that big, most likely you're not going to pull an oblique, right? Because you don't have any of those muscles in there.
You would think that, but, as irony would have it, I actually managed to pull my oblique the other day. A muscle I didn't think I owned.
Yeah, exactly. But what was your hamstring? Now your oblique?
Yeah, martial arts are a wonderful thing.
Yeah. I saw your mother posted a picture of you 35 years ago.
Yeah.
And said, this was an orange belt then and still is.
Gotta love the mother.
Yeah, thanks, Mom. Speaking about your mother, you remember what I remember most about your mother?
I do.
Yeah, we talked about that. But anyways.
No, we don't need to talk about that. I'm sure the rest of the world is curious, though.
Well, they do the rest. They're going to have to wait maybe another day and time. I'll tell that story. And I didn't sleep with her, if that's what you guys are wondering.
No, but... Oh, goodness.
All right. I saw one of his mother's body parts floating beautifully on top of the water. That's about all I can say. At the age of 8. I was in love.
No, you were 8. She wasn't.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I was in love.
Goodness. Anyways, check Vlad Jr. off the list. So your guy that you projected was going to come up at the same time, which they promptly brought up. Can you pronounce his name?
Kaboom?
Kaboom. Keyboom.
Which, by the
Kaboom.
way, just so everybody knows, we talk about Rich Wilson, and part of Rich Wilson's allure and charm is the fact he can't pronounce somebody's name. In fact, it gets almost annoying at times. I listen to him, and I'm like, come on, Rich. You got the guy's name wrong. But I could quite possibly be worse than him. I mean,
I'm sure
talk about
I am.
butchering. Last week I said Chavez for Chavis. I called the possible closer for the Angels Buttery. I mean, in fact, I listened to somebody on I don't know if it was Sirius Radio or something they were making fun of that guy's name. They were saying it should be Buttery. So I got it the way what I do is I look at a guy's name and what I say it is when I look at it the first time, that's what it is. And I call Pat Nichek, I call him Neskith. That's what I call him. I just can't help it. So you guys listen to me and say the only difference between Rich Wilson and I is he has much more money and he's much smarter than me. But other than that, we have that in common.
So how about the that pitcher from the Yankees, Jonathan what?
Oh yeah, there's the other guy, the Weiser guy.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I call
Very
him
good.
Zan. Yeah.
I'm actually impressed.
Yeah, no, that guy's. Speaking about the Yankees, Pollock left the game tonight. You were telling me.
No, Paxton.
Paxton.
64 pitches and left the game. I'm still. No, it's not good. But let's hold that for the injury talk. Maybe there's actually going to be some news by the time we get to that section of the pod tonight. So, Kaboom.
He had two early
profile.
home runs.
Yeah.
2 early home runs, and then he kind of.
Since.
Yeah, he hasn't done much since, but he's going to be up until Turner comes back. So
he just
hopefully
has to prove himself before then.
Yeah, because Howie Kendrick's still hitting. So Defoe will be the guy that loses out, I think. But Howie Kendrick is, he could play the outfield, he could play the infield. The guy hits. I watched him tonight. Guy before him struck out. And then he took the same pitch that guy struck out on and just hit it right up the middle. RBI, It's a good hitter. In fact, Joe Girardi was saying during the telecast that everybody who was around him at that time thought he was going to eventually win a batting title. That's how good of a hitter he is. So, whether you believe Girardi or not, but he's definitely a good hitter. And he's clutch too. So, Kaboom might be going down, but maybe they'll just, get rid of Defoe and keep him around. Problem is, when you got a guy like that, do you want him sitting around if he's not playing every day?
Absolutely not. You definitely want a guy like that playing every day. The worst thing you can do for a young player's development, is not have him playing baseball every day. So if he's not going to play every day, I say send him down. If he is, great, awesome. Glad to see him on the club.
Especially now with Rendon, too. So
yeah. Yep.
I think that's a lot of issues right now.
Yeah, seems to be a record-breaking IL year. Hell, I mean, I can say definitively there's been more IL stints this year than ever before.
Yeah.
Since it was called the DL previously.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You got me on that one.
I got you. Yeah, so let's leave Washington for a moment, and let's talk about Cole Tucker. I was absolutely shocked that they called him up, first of all. And he's been doing pretty good. He's, 9 for 39.
Hit a home run like his second game, and that's been all the home runs and RBIs he's gotten since. So.
Yeah, but he's, at least a little bit more production than those other guys. Not horrible. He's definitely had more hits. He's got 9 hits total, so.
Let's see, batting 220.
Yeah, 230. I don't know what he did today, but.
Yeah, he's
0 for 1 today.
Doesn't excite me at all. He's a nice kid and stuff. I saw his parents were in the stadium when he hit his home run that second game or first game he was playing.
Yeah, he's supposed to have some. He's supposed to have some speed, so I'm still hoping to see that. I did actually pick him up in a league, so I would like to see some speed coming from him because it's not easy to find these days.
No.
Hopefully we see that.
I've seen him basically almost dropped in every league I'm in now already. People get.
Trust me, I've thought about it
already. Yeah. Yeah.
So
now, I remember last week.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say something else, but go ahead.
Oh, I was going to leave him and go to another player, so continue on.
No, go ahead. Well, the guy starting tonight, I mean, I guess he's the newest call-up, right? Senzel?
Yep, Nick Senzel. Last time I checked, he was 0 for 2 tonight, but I don't know.
I saw him on the bases. Yeah, he was getting a big ovation.
Yeah, he 0 for 2 with a run scored.
Funny part about that game tonight, the Reds, I was trying to decide who I was going to pick up for tonight, and I said, you know what? I just have a feeling about the Giant pitcher. Well, 7-0 right off the bat. Beatty or whatever his name is.
Yep.
Oh, God. He got bombed.
So let's go to a guy that you pronounced wrong last week.
I can't believe.
Actually, let's stick with Senzel for a second. What do you expect from Senzel?
Well, here's the thing. Peraza's starting to hit now, so I guess they're going to stick Senzel in center, and Schwebler or whatever is going to lose out on. Schwebler's going to lose out on at bats and everything.
Yeah,
Funny part is
Senzel has played center field exclusively since he came back from being injured. Now, that's only been 8 or 9 games, but they clearly had plans to put him there when they brought him back from, was it an ankle injury he had to begin the year?
Yes.
I don't know. There's been so many injuries over the last couple of years. It's hard to tell which one's now and which one's before.
Yeah, I was listening to Sirius Radio today, and Bowden seems to think, with talking to the people he knows, that he's got third base written all over him. Senzel.
Well, that's what they brought him up as. So
yeah,
or drafted him as a third baseman.
and Scooter Gennett will be coming back, whatever, a month or so, but they're not signing him, so he won't be there next year. Peraza's just starting to hit. I mean, Peraza was ready to be, I don't know what they were going to do with him, but he just started to hit a little, stole a base. So, they got Iglesias playing short. I mean, they need to get something done over there. Peraza, if he starts hitting, then they'll be fine. But
yeah, Senzel has played second and short a little bit as well while in the minors.
Yeah, well, so. I think he would be perfect for second, but Bowden, that guy knows more than me. He seems to think that the people he knows says that guy eventually, maybe not this year, but next year, the year after, will be their third baseman. What was he, the second pick?
Second
2 years ago or
pick,
something
yep.
like that?
Yeah. That doesn't happen by accident.
Sometimes it does, but...
So let's move to Boston and talk a little bit about Michael... How do you say his last name?
Last week it was Chavez. This week it's... what is it again?
That's a good question. Is it Chavez?
It's not Chavez. It's Chavis or something. Chavis, right? Chavis?
Chavis.
Yeah, it's definitely not Chavez. But yeah, see, so if you listen to me, you think I don't know what I'm talking about. But I actually do. I just don't know how to pronounce their names. In fact, the best is when I'm trying to think of somebody, that guy, the first baseman for the Brewers. Remember when we first started, Aguiar? I couldn't think of his name.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to stick around, it looks like.
Pedroia,
Pedroia, even when he comes back, something will happen. He'll go back down.
In all seriousness, do you think we're going to see Pedroia again?
Yeah, I do, but I don't think it'll be for any prolonged period of time. He just, at this point in his career, he can't stay healthy.
I can't help but think that, he's not going to end up being like a David Wright and, just never really make it back from those injuries.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is...
He always comes back. He just, immediately gets hurt again. It's weird.
And it all started with... wasn't it? Machado.
Yeah.
Boy, that sucks.
Yeah. And the thing is, Devers is hitting the ball hard and everything, but the guy's got no power this year, too,
Yeah.
I mean, batting around 300, but his power numbers are just, I don't know what's happening with him. Everybody else is hitting the ball over the wall. Do you see some of the stats on the liveliness of this ball?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're absurd.
It's just ridiculous. In fact, the other day they led off on MLB Network with one of the games there was no home runs and they couldn't believe it. Imagine that. That's the story.
Yeah. So, outside of Vlad Jr., is Chavis the guy you want to own that we talked about so far?
I really want to kaboom the stick in there. That's who I really want to. Starting not to really believe it, especially since I know we're going to be talking about injuries, but Trey Turner, he's starting to swing in a bat this week, so it won't be long before he's back. It's not like, he broke, he pulled a hamstring or something like that. I mean, it's his finger. It's healed, it's healed. He's swinging a bat, it's healed.
Yeah. As
you saw with Daniel Murphy, as soon as he started swinging the bat, he's right back there. Of course, now he's hurt because of his back. Isn't that great? Telling you, next year, I'm not drafting any of these guys anymore, these old guys, these guys that get hurt all the time. I mean, I say it every year, and I'll do the same thing next year, because you get them at a value. Like Murphy, I got in the 6th or 7th round. I mean, that seems like a pretty good value. Pollock, what'd I get him in the 12th round? I mean, how could you think that isn't a good value? But when the guys are going to get hurt all the time and then take a long time to get back, it's just not worth that type of value. Because it turns into it's not a value anymore, obviously.
Right. Right. So let's head to Tampa Bay and talk about a low and a low, even though they're both spelt the same way. So Brandon Lau has had a really good year so far. 18 runs, 7 home runs, 19 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and a .304 batting average so far. Do you think that's kind of what we're going to expect, or is he playing over his head and then we're going to see some regression moving forward?
I think this is what you're going to... I mean, I'm not so sure he's going to hit 300, but he's going to show some power, steal some bases, and he's going to play almost every day. I mean, he's one of the guys they gave a contract to, so...
Yeah, yep.
You don't have to worry most likely about him being sent down. I mean, he's playing halfway decent. He's going to be in there.
So now, 7 home runs through April. What do you expect his final numbers of the season to be?
20, 22, something like that. I don't know. I don't think he's going to hit 30 home runs. I mean, he's on that pace now, right? 7 in April. I mean, he's on the pace for 40 probably. I figure 22, 23, 15, 13, 12 stolen bases, something like that. Yeah. I figure him hitting around 250, though, so I don't know. I see some regression on batting average. I don't know what his BABIP is, but,
I don't know that either. But, yeah, I don't imagine a 304 for a rookie year is something that I should expect. But, 7 home runs so far is quite nice, so.
Yeah.
I expect kind of 25 to 30, somewhere in that range. Sounds like you're a little bit lower.
That wouldn't surprise me though.
And then the 10 to 15 stolen bases, I totally can get behind that.
Yeah.
And you're probably looking 80 to 90 runs scored and RBIs as long as that team continues as they're going. So
that team can hit.
Yeah. So we'll stay with It's
funny this modern day way of thinking. I mean, like, Lau struck out, 30 times or something ridiculous like that? I don't know what the exact amount is. I know they don't care, though. They don't care. You strike out.
Yep.
And then they bring everybody up. Everybody's coming up. I mean, they brought up the guy you're about to talk about that spells his name the same, but it's pronounced differently.
Yeah. Nate Lowe, Nathaniel Lowe.
And then his brother was actually drafted before him, wasn't he? Higher in the draft than him?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's the only Lowe that I own in Fantasy League.
Wasn't he in the second round?
I don't know what his overall pick was, to be honest with you.
But I mean, in the next couple of years, he'll probably be on the team too.
Yeah, what's his name? Josh or something?
Yeah, I got to admit, I like the way these. They used to say you can't bring a guy up; he's gonna, hurt his mental way of thinking. Because if he's gonna go over 40 or something, it's gonna kill his mental outlook and all that. That builds character. Get the guy in there, let him play. Especially if he gets off to a good start, that's only going to help. But but you got to tell him though. If you don't play good, obviously we want you to, but it's don't put the weight of the world on your shoulders. Just play, have fun.
So
do what's got you here.
You started talking about that, and that kind of reminds me of the situation that a lot of those Yankee players are in currently. All those young guys or maybe not young guys, but all those we didn't think we were going to see them prospects who are now currently on their major league roster due to injury.
We didn't think we were going to see them because they weren't even good prospects.
Well, true.
Yeah.
But there's 3 that I kind of want to get your opinion on. Whether they're gonna any hope to stick around. I want to throw a couple of scenarios out there. The first one is Thairo Estrada. second is going to be Gio Urshela, and then Mike Tauchman, if that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, that's the guy I like the most out of them. I know he's not, he's not batting 400 or anything like that, but I like his makeup the best. I like the way he runs the bases. I like the way he plays hard. Ursula, I just don't. I know he's even batting better. I just don't see it with him.
So Tauchman or however you.
The guy basically the Rockies just gave him to us, basically.
Right. Now, do you see any possibility? Now, obviously, Judge is going to be out for a little while. Stanton's not quite back yet. Do you see any possibility that this guy is, anything at all?
I like I said,
can he stick around?
Well, my problem is Hicks is coming back in 7 to 10 days. He's going out on a rehab on Monday.
Yep.
Judge, obviously, he's in the weight room working out, so he's probably just like stretching and stuff. Because what kind of weight work could he be doing with his maybe his legs or something? I don't know. But he is not doing any baseball activities. I don't know what's going on with Stanton. He should be back by now. I know he injured. Was it his shoulder now or something like that?
Yeah, there was some sort of the shoulder flare up or something. I don't know.
Just enough to drive you crazy.
It certainly is that.
So I don't see him being able to stick around.
Really. So and they have they still have Gardner. Like he basically he's not. He's gonna get sent down when those guys are back and healthy.
He'll be that guy that's on that used to call it the Columbus Shuttle. When the Yankees had a AAA.
Yeah. Yep.
He'll be shuttled back and forth when needed. And the same with like Andujar's coming back on Saturday. So, Ursula.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about him a little bit because I've been watching a couple games and he looks really good in the field.
Yeah.
He's making some really nice plays. And that's obviously been an issue with Andujar anyways.
Yeah.
Paxton is now, he left the game after, just 64 pitches. What happens if the Yankees need more pitching?
Well, I told you what I just read about Keuchel.
Yeah.
As soon as that draft goes through and they have no more worries about losing draft pick, they'll sign Keuchel. And Keuchel's willing to take a 1-year contract, unlike Kimbrell, who, I don't know what that guy's thinking. With all these failed bullpens, between the Braves and the Nationals, Doolittle, he's lefty. I could see them signing him, Yeah. The Brewers, even Josh Hader's getting hit now. Crazy.
Yeah.
They need a back end guy. So, I don't know what he's thinking, but yeah. So the Yankees sign Keuchel. That'll help. But if Paxton's out, let's face it.
So Paxton was removed with left knee soreness, and he's having an MRI tomorrow to determine the severity of the issue.
How many MRIs have the Yankees given their players so far this year?
Quite a few. So
crazy.
That's concerning. If anything that needs an MRI puts up, that's a little bit more than soreness. He tweaked it in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at CeCe. I know CeCe's, throwing on 230 pounds on top of that or more of his knee, but Paxton is, what's he, 6'8", 6'7"?
Yeah, he's not a small guy. I don't know his stats. Let me see if I can find them. Paxton, 6'4", 235.
Yeah. So CC must weigh 280 then.
Sabathia. Hey, were you watching the 3000K game?
No, I didn't see it.
Even though they lost?
I saw it, on Sports Center.
CC's listed at 6'6", 300.
Yeah, see, look at that. I said whatever, but 280, 300?
300. Yeah, Paxton weighs the same as I do. He's just, got 4 inches on me.
Yeah.
Actually, I probably have 4 inches on him in girth.
Oh, by the way, those IPAs that I bought for the party?
Yeah.
No, I think I've had one in my life. Don't really like them because basically some of them taste like they got just poured like whiskey or something into the bottle, the beer bottle. But that one that I had, it has like a citrus.
Most of them have citrus overtones.
Yeah, well, that one, because that's the taste I look for when I put lemon in my beer anyways,
Mm-hmm.
And I had one of those. I'm like, oh, this is delicious.
Why do you think that's all I drink?
Yeah. Well, now I have. This one has a grapefruit.
What kind is it? Show me the label. Yeah, I've been there. It's delicious.
Yeah, that is good. Anyways, so now instead of drinking 10 beers, maybe I'll have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I thoroughly support that.
I bought one of those on Facebook. They had one of those beverage coolers, little refrigerators with the glass door in the front. $1,200 on brand new on like Wayfair or something like that. And I got the guy down to $100.
Nice.
I mean, it's not brand new. It's looks good. For $100. Now, my goal now is just to fill it up with beer. So.
Let's change gears here slightly and talk about some guys we think might be called up.
I mean, I've said it the last couple times, and it's just getting closer and closer. That Jordan Alvarez, spelled with a Y, but they pronounce it Jordan for the Houston. He's going to be coming up. That guy. Anything happens to anybody on that team, I mean, they're loaded. Houston, obviously. They were actually going to activate him for their series in Mexico, but they ended up because they needed. I guess you could put an extra guy on your roster for that trip.
Mm-hmm.
So they activated Fisher for that instead. But this guy's coming up with, by the end of a month or so, he'll be up. Another guy that I was looking at for the Indians. I mean, the Indians team is.
Oh, and it just got worse, which we'll talk about.
They sent down Greg Allen. I mean, I know Zimmer's coming back, and it's whatever point.
It doesn't even. I don't know that it matters for them. They're actually maybe worse off than the Yankees are right now.
Yeah, with Kluber going down with that.
Yep.
Line shot. It breaks his bone at 101 miles an hour. I think the exit velocity was.
Yeah, I saw 102, but yep. What's the difference? Oh, disgusting.
Yeah. So they're one of their top prospects, Oscar Mercado.
Yep.
And all these guys are hitting like the stuffing out of the ball. The guy for the White Sox, Robert. I mean, I told you a slash line, I believe, last week. 475, 530, 915.
Yeah, was that when he was still in high A, or was that after he went to double A?
He just went to double A, and he went 3 for 4 with, I think he had 2 doubles. And I mean, he's just, basically he's doing what Vlad did.
And take notice of that. Triple A is the only one using the MLB ball. So the double A ball is still not, quote unquote juiced. So if he's still doing that at double A, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, he was just promoted, but he's still hitting the stuffing out of the ball.
Yeah,
I say these all are guys that when they hit the ball, at least Alvarez and Robert, they hit the ball, you turn your head and say, well, during batting practice, like, who was that? That sound off the bat.
Yeah.
And Robert also steals bases, so I don't know. And then, as you told me earlier about Travis Shaw, like batting 180 or whatever.
Yeah, so that brings up, Milwaukee with another name I can't.
Hira. Yeah.
Hira.
Yeah, he actually has his slash lines 312, 350, 688, and he's got 8 home runs. So, I mean, these guys, and it's not like it used to be. These guys are going to be brought up, and these are the guys, I guess, like only leagues, they may even be owned as it is, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as they become available, like the waiver wire, like I read a thing on Alvarez, like, don't hurry up, run to your computer when you hear this guy's getting brought up. Pick him up, That doesn't mean you. And then another interesting run, obviously Forrest Whitley. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Brad Peacock got bombed yesterday.
Yeah, but I don't think Forrest Whitley's been pitching good.
Yeah.
I think he's been floundering. I think he
I think I just saw that he didn't. His last outing wasn't that bad. I don't know.
It was 1.1 innings. Oh, that was April 16th. Never mind.
Yeah, I think his last outing was halfway decent. But the Pirates, Mitch Keller.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been 3.48 ERA, but 38 strikeouts in 31 innings. I mean,
yeah. So I don't know what to think about the Pirates because historically they don't bring people up. They rot there until they can't do anything else but bring them up. But then they just brought Cole Tucker up, and out
of the blue.
Yeah, out of the blue. You don't expect it. He deserved it, but you don't expect it because they're the Pirates. June whatever after the Super 2 deadline goes by is usually the earliest, and then they bring Cole Tucker up. So, could Mitch Keller come up? I don't know, maybe.
And not only him,
I have no idea what to think.
The guy that was tearing it up in the spring, their third baseman, Cabrian Hayes.
Yep. Yeah, he's
another
still,
one.
Again, would they? I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm just saying these are definitely guys that, I got them all on my watch list, and every day I go to and I check it. Especially in your league, with you have
keeper.
a big bench
and it's a keeper. Yeah.
Oh, did you happen to see the Braves game today?
I did not.
Well, your boy Kevin Gausman, right? He's starting. How would you like to have him going for you today? Urena comes up, the Marlins.
Yep.
Throws right at him. Gets thrown out of the game. Like the second inning. You remember he was the one that threw at, I believe it was Acuna, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so they threw right at him. First pitch, right at his ass. At least it was at his ass, but
that's very funny. Very, very funny.
They got that warning about the dirty language, right?
Yes, yeah. I put the potential explicit language on our tags for sure today.
Speaking about the Braves, did you happen to see Culberson pitch?
I did not.
A couple days ago, he was throwing 90 something up there. He was whipping a ball in there. Guy looks just like Dansby Swanson too. I thought it was him when I first saw it. I said, "What are they? Dansby Swanson's pitching up?" Yeah, so they were getting bombed. No sense in wasting your bullpen, right?
No sense.
I saw him. I think he had a 1-2-3 inning too at one point.
There's one other guy that I'm kind of paying attention to, and that's a guy we thought was gonna make the starting lineup for the Baltimore Orioles, and that's Austin Hayes.
He got hurt. Yeah, he got hurt.
But then he got hurt, exactly.
Yeah. He's another one, exactly.
He's back from his injury, and he's only playing extended spring training games still, I think, but he's starting to play again, so that's another guy to pay attention to, just, see how he's doing.
Yeah, they're starting to weed those players out in Baltimore, too, just like Cleveland. I mean, they sent one of their outfielders down.
Yeah, Mullins.
Dwight Smith.
Cedric Mullins is gone.
Cedric Mullins. Dwight Smith is still there. He's been playing okay. Their shortstop, Martin, hasn't played the last 2 days.
Yep.
They're going to start weeding. Yeah, they're going to start weeding these people out of here. So check the minors, see who's playing well. I mean, remember, like when Korea came up, like he won people championships.
Sure did.
And he hasn't won anybody anything since. Except the Astros have won the World Series since, but he hasn't won anybody in fantasy anything.
No, he's been the bane of my existence. He was my first overall pick in Dynasty League, Startup Dynasty League a couple years ago, and I had so many people offer me so much for him in the first year we had that league, and I couldn't give him up. Let me tell you, if I look back at some of those trades now, I'd kick myself for not taking them.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's the nature of fantasy baseball, fantasy sports in general.
How about when I offered you Pollock? I had no idea that he was hurt. I just offered, I know you like him. I know you think he's going to start playing good. And I'm sick of sitting there waiting for him. And then the next day I look, at my lineup and I see that he's day to day. I'm like, what is going on? I mean, which reminds me on our Up Yours segment. That reminds me of what I have to say during that, because I've had quite enough.
Very funny. Very funny.
So on these, have you seen Cargo play at all?
I have not.
Yeah, he's had a couple home runs. That's what I said. The Indians, the Giants, both those teams have horrible outfields. Just sign the guy, let him play. I mean, I know he's not tearing it up, but I would just put him out there and let him play. I know he's, the splits from Colorado and all this, but I still think the guy's got talent. And now, that being said, I have not picked him up in any league, fantasy-wise.
I don't own him anywhere, and I won't own him anywhere, but,
See a couple...
I still love him. I just am not going to own him anywhere.
We talked about the motions. The Cardinals sent down Tyler O'Neill, which should help that outfield out a little bit. I mean, you can't have like 6 guys that all can play, I mean, I know injuries, but Bader's back now. Jose Martinez is just tearing the stuffing out of the ball. He's not hitting for power, really, but guy's got so much confidence now. The ball looks like a beach ball coming up to him. So they sent him down. Who else did they sent down? They sent down, we were just talking about the Dominic Smith. That's another one was sent down. They brought up the guy that played for the Yankees last year, the great fielder, Hecha Barreria. That's a better move. Let Dominic Smith play every day, Send him back down. Let him play every day because, playing once or twice a week, which, by the way, maybe now they won't give, 22-year-olds days off now. I mean, I can't stand that. It's unbelievable, obviously I talk about that every week. It's annoying. But the one thing we haven't talked about, which we have to talk about every week, is Chris Davis. Talk about giving guys days off. They're finally starting to give that guy only play him against right-handed pitching. That's how you have to play him. Put Mancini in at first, bring up Hayes, let him play in the outfield as soon as he can. whatever that is. You can't catch a break in fantasy. I got that Kikuchi guy going. They finally, last week we were talking.
Yep.
Remember, the first inning he pitched, he struck out 2, and I joked, are they going to take him out now? They did. After we got off, he came out of the game after 1 inning pitched. Tonight, he pitches 7 innings, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts, and it's 1-1 in the bottom of the ninth. Like, he's out and he's not getting a decision.
Yeah, that sucks for him, for sure. I'm surprised they let him go 7 innings. How many pitches did he have through 7 innings? Do you know that?
But he must not have had a lot. Cause...
That doesn't make sense at all to limit him to 1 inning in one game and let him go 7 in the next.
Exactly.
Let's see if I can't find that. Let's see.
Yes.
Kikuchi, he had 93 pitches through 7 innings.
So now, Cleveland Indians go into this season with Clevenger, Kluber, Carrasco, Bauer, and Bieber, right?
Yeah, arguably the best.
Now they got Bieber and Bauer and Carrasco.
Yep.
Clevenger and Kluber are done. Now, Clevenger actually is ahead of schedule, they said. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks away. He's thrown from 90 feet already.
That's good.
Kluber, they're going to reevaluate in 3 weeks. All that is doing is seeing if it's going to heal on its own or whether they have to go in and surgically repair it.
So non-displaced usually means that it's going to heal on its own because, the bones are touching.
Yeah.
So, the rule of thumb, generally speaking, with skeletal injuries, and by skeletal injuries I mean, musculoskeletal injuries like bones, ligaments, tendons. Generally speaking, it's the number of weeks to heal as there are letters in the word. So, bone is 4 weeks. And then you ramp him back up from there. So you figure maybe he gets back in, 6 to 8 weeks. He'll be back in the major league team pitching. That's my guess.
Yeah. Well, they said they're gonna reevaluate in 3 weeks and see. Who knows if it's gotten worse, needs surgery, whatever. So we'll see. Actually, I have him in one league, and it's your league, and I can't wait to put him on the IL and pick someone up tonight. Because basically, Kluber has been, normally, the way he's pitched so far, he's just a guy you could drop. I mean, you can't drop him because he's Kluber, but his performance, basically, is the reason I'm, in 8th place out of 10. Part of the reason. He hasn't helped, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, he certainly hasn't. And you had to pay way too much to get him in that league, too, right?
Yeah. Well, I paid for a top 10, top 5 pitcher basically.
Yeah, which
he has been.
I think that's where I had him projected. I don't know. I didn't actually pay attention to my. No, I'm kidding. I had him as number 4.
Yeah.
Looking back at my sheet now.
Well, how about Syndergaard yesterday?
Yeah, he had a.
You heard he's the first person in a ridiculous amount of years to pitch a shutout, win 1-0, and be the guy who hit the home run to make it 1-0. I think it's early wins the last time it happened, something crazy like that.
Yeah, he had a nice outing for sure.
And he was getting stronger at the end too. He struck out the last guy up, and he did that hammer thing, I guess that's Thor. I kind of liked it, though, to be honest with you. Because I have him on my team.
It's easy to like him in that case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was that his first complete game, professional complete game?
I don't think so.
I have no idea. I was just
it
curious.
might be, but I don't. Now, here's a question for you. He is 26?
Okay.
Or is he 24? Hold on. Let's see how old he is.
He is 26. He'll be 27 in August.
Okay, so 27. Who would you rather have going forward? Him at 26 or DeGrom at his age? What is DeGrom?
I think he's
30.
29.
DeGrom?
I think so. I'll check right
Is
now.
it like?
I think he is. Oh no, he'll actually be 31 in June 19th.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
5 years.
Yeah, I would 100%
4 years.
rather have Syndergaard the rest of his career right now.
4 years. So
I think his stuff is better. Number one, obviously he hasn't put it together, so don't say, "Well, how could you say that?" You know, he won the Cy Young Award. Well, first of all, they gave him the Cy Young Award because they wanted to have a novelty of a guy who only won like 8 games. That's why they gave it to him. You know, same reason they gave Kirk Gibson the MVP with like 88 RBIs. I mean, you don't do that. It's dumb. But whatever. But I like Syndergaard's stuff, always has. Like, if he can stay healthy, which obviously...
He's got disgusting stuff, but you said it. If he can stay healthy. And that's the thing with Syndergaard.
In one breath, I'm not taking those injury-prone guys anymore, and in the next breath, I'm telling you, Syndergaard's better than DeGrom. So,
well, I mean, they both have had their own little injury things. Syndergaard's have been bigger. I think a lot of the reasons Syndergaard's have been bigger is because he throws max effort all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the and you know, he's a egocentric individual. When you give yourself a name like Thor, clearly,
yeah,
you know.
Remember I said, like, one of our early podcasts, I'm like, I know he hasn't said it. I know that doesn't sit well with him, where he goes to arbitration and gets like $3 million, and DeGrom gets 19, and then gets an extension. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that doesn't sit well. I know he knows he's a better pitcher than DeGrom because he's got that self-confidence. You know he really feels that way. I mean, obviously, this is my opinion.
On one, you can call it self-confidence or you can call it arrogant.
Yeah. Well, he's arrogant, no doubt. But, I mean, I like that in a guy. Like, you think Nolan Ryan wasn't arrogant? Roger Clemens wasn't arrogant?
To be a professional baseball player, you have to be. I mean, you have to be. If you're not, then you're probably no good. And you shouldn't be arrogant because you suck.
Nice guys finish last, right?
Right. And, you know, unfortunately in professional sports, it seems to be accurate.
Yeah.
You have to be a little self-assured, even if it's unjustified.
So
since we just kind of started talking about injury stuff, let's knock those things out.
That's what I was just about to say.
Perfect. We're both on the same...
Imagine that.
Yeah. So, I guess, you know, I'm going to selfishly start with some guys on my fantasy teams. And, no, I was going to actually start with guys trending in the positive direction.
Okay. Austin Meadows.
Austin Meadows, you know, hitting off a tee. So that's a, you know, step in the right direction. He's been out, I don't know, since, like, the 2nd, 3rd of April or something. Like, that didn't, not the 2nd or 3rd, like the 20th, April 20th or somewhere in that
couple weeks he's been out.
Yeah, so, you know.
They said that they'll give another update on Monday, but he's progressing nicely, so that seems to be going well.
Moving in the right direction. Something that I like to hear. Now, Jimmy Nelson, also moving in the right direction. He's back to pitching some rehab games, so, you know, that's positive. Hopefully we'll see him playing again in the somewhat near future. Staying with pitching, unfortunately I don't own this guy anywhere, but I sure would love to, even though he's not going to come back as a pitcher. Shohei Ohtani is supposed to be back as soon as Tuesday, I think I heard.
Yeah. I read, like, within a couple hours of each other, before May 17th, and then maybe Tuesday. So he's, you know, Tuesday, that's pretty close. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's.
And he's going to be playing against lefties as well. So basically, he's going to come back and 5-6 days a week. He's going to be playing. They'll probably give him a day off a week, maybe 2 to start with, but after a couple of weeks, if he starts, hitting, he'll just be playing. Like Bohr's not hitting, You gotta put Pujols in there,
Yep.
One will be DH, one will be playing the field. But the problem is, neither one of those guys can play the field very well. I mean, Pujols, you almost cringe in pain when you watch the guy walk.
Yeah. Yep.
I think we already said that Eloy Jimenez is going to start a rehab next week.
Yep. Carlos Martinez as well is supposed to start a rehab assignment. I think tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So that's exciting if you own him.
Jose De Leon by the end of he's starting one.
Yeah, he was actually on my my deep pitcher suggestion.
Yeah, but you also gave that with the caveat he won't come back till after the All-Star break. So maybe before that.
Yeah.
Now on that team, that's a good team.
So I also I have Andahar some teams, and he's supposed to be activated
Saturday.
Tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
You have Donaldson. He's back in the lineup tonight.
Donaldson
I don't know what he
is
did.
back in the lineup. Hicks
at least that's what it said. Hicks is 7 to 10 days, beginning a rehab on Monday.
Yeah. So that's good.
Judge is doing work in the weight room. That's about it. So Rendon, they said, I don't know why they waited so long to put him on.
Yeah,
but
no kidding.
He should be activated during the May 3rd to the 12th road trip. Some point, they said. Yelich, he's still out. He's missed 5 games. That went quick. I don't have him in any league. So
yeah, neither do I.
Any of those picks where I could have had Yelich, I picked Turner or Scherzer. So how'd that work out for me? Anyways, he said he felt great after batting practice today. So your boy Tulo shut down for another week. I mean, some guys, like I said, they just can never play. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Didi, they said he's a few weeks away from rehab, but he'll definitely be back before the All-Star break, supposedly. Although, originally they said after the All-Star break. Remember I told you I was listening to the Cashman? Mm-hmm. Cashman, he said, that's, like way optimistic, thinking he'll be back before then. But
Donaldson went 3 for 4 today with 3 RBIs.
Yeah. That was John Heyman who reported that about Keuchel, by the way. That the Yankees would be willing to sign him.
Yeah, after the draft, so they don't have to worry about draft compensation picks.
Yeah,
it makes sense, but
it makes all the sense in the world. I mean, he's not going to be a savior, but he's going to definitely help out. Lucas Giolito was activated when Rodon goes down with his elbow.
Yeah, which that is
frightening.
It is frightening. Edema and inflammation in his elbow. I heard that Tommy John is not off the table at this point, so definitely concerning and really disappointing because he was actually, he was looking pretty good. He
was a guy, I remember when he was one of these guys out of college and talking about when he was going to impact the majors,
Yeah.
Command was always his issue. He has the stuff. Just the Braves brought up Tuki Toussaint.
They brought him back up. That's good.
So they're gonna pitch him out of the bullpen at first, but See where that leads.
Luis Severino, not expecting him back until late June to July at the earliest. That's definitely not a,
It's just typical.
Any other Kluber with his break? I think we talked about him already.
Yep.
Who else is newly injured? I can't even.
Well, Daniel Murphy now is out for 2 days in a row with his stiff back. Aren't I lucky? Who's starting to hit? Rizzo.
Yeah, finally. It took him long enough.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Tatis got hurt.
Yeah.
Did you watch that game?
No, but I heard about it.
Yeah, he stretched in a way that a grown man should not stretch.
Yeah. I saw my granddaughter do one of those in the bounce house. Saturday.
Uh-huh.
For her, it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if she's a young girl, it should be easy at that stage.
Yeah. But... What do you call it? Kyle Hendricks today. 81 pitches to complete a shutout. That guy, I dropped him in more than one league. I got sick of keeping him on my roster,
Yeah. Frazier could come back Monday.
Oh, yeah? That's good.
Yeah, I'm trying. How about Willens Ostadio? He's a guy. Let's see. Yeah. He's running in the outfield as of Wednesday. He felt good afterwards. Sounds like he's coming close to coming back. That guy, he came out gangbusters.
Oh, that guy can hit. And the funny part is they have 3 catchers on that team.
I know.
Garver, when he went down, I picked up Garver. The guy's still hitting 400. Garver's hitting 400. And that guy, I saw they played him at first and they played him at third. Not Garver, obviously. The Turtle. They played him at first and at third. I saw him actually make a good play at third. It looked like he was defending himself, but he caught it and threw it to first and got the guy out. So, Yeah, that guy's a good hitter.
Cespedes started hitting in a batting cage. I don't know if that means we're going to see him at all this year.
See, that's guys like that are guys that all of a sudden you forget about. Next thing you know, you hear they're on a rehab assignment. And then you got to rush and go pick them up,
Yep.
Like Didi's coming soon now where leagues like mine, people are going to, you got an empty deal. There's like 4 people in my league with empty DL slots. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, me neither. 2 reasons. A, why didn't you fill it already, first of all? Second of all, so many freaking injuries. How could they possibly
I do it every time, and I swear I jinx myself. I have an open DL slot. I pick someone up, I put them on it, and then not even the next day sometimes, one of my main guys goes down with an injury.
Yeah.
That happened with, I picked up Carlos Martinez, put him on my DL, and 2 days later, Daniel Murphy had his injury.
Yeah.
And then Turner 2 days after that. So I'm not keeping 2 guys on my bench, that can't play. So I had to drop Carlos Martinez. And look, the guy still isn't back anyways.
Any other hitters you can think of? Injured players that we should talk about.
No, not that I can think of.
All right.
Basically, we talked about Pollock. We talked about Judge Stanton. I don't know what's the deal with him. Yelich. We talked about everybody.
I'm sure we forgot someone. How about who?
I said Trumbo. He'll be back the end of May. Do you think he's going to help Baltimore?
Not defensively, but their outfield sucks anyway. So he might as well see if he can't hit a couple home runs in the
maybe
East and those small parks.
Put him in at first against lefties.
There you go.
Yeah, then DH whatever other times. Play for the outfield. Remember when they tried him at third, like 4 years ago?
Yep, they had him. I don't know. They were just trying to figure something out.
Yeah,
I still don't think they figured it out.
No,
they're just whatever. Let's transition now that we just talked about DL guys. Let's talk about waiver wire guys that some guys that might be available in some of the deeper leagues or whatever that you might be interested in picking up.
I'll let
you go first, even though I'm going to be annoyed if you pick the guy that I want to pick first.
It doesn't matter. But I just noticed that, and I recently, the last couple of weeks in those roto leagues, I started picking up Andujar, Matt Olson.
Yep.
He's coming back. He's on a rehab now. All those type of players. But, basically they're all getting gobbled up now because people know. And those are weekly leagues,
Yeah.
In my league, there's a guy still there, which I find hard to believe the way he's hitting. That's kind of like, everybody doesn't believe in Hayward, so they leave him there, and then eventually somebody picks him up. The same with Gordon.
Yep.
The guy for the Angels. I think he's still here. Yeah, Brian Goodwin.
Yep.
See the year this guy's having? I mean, he's only got 11 RBIs. He's got 20 runs scored, batting .341, with 4 homers and a stolen bag.
Still only 11% owned.
Yeah, I know Robinson Chirinos, the catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Catching is so bad. That guy's a good hitter. He hit a bomb the other day at over the train tracks in Houston. What do you call it? That what you just said, that catcher. I don't know when he's coming off the Austin. You know me, I can't pronounce it. Yeah.
Yeah. The guy I'm kind of interested in, who had a couple really good games in a row, is Hunter Pence.
Yeah.
If you need some outfield help, he's only 3% owned, so he's available everywhere.
He plays like 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah, he's put a couple good ones in a row, so
I noticed in a lot of leagues, people are getting sick of Enrique Hernandez, but with Pollock out, he's playing even more now for the Dodgers. Plus, He's got shortstop, second base, and outfield eligibility. What was I going to say? Somebody I was just looking at. So I've noticed that he's been in a lot of leagues. People are dropping him. I understand like Malik Smith being dropped. You saw that Seattle has switched him and D. Gordon in the batting order now.
Yeah,
which is the way it should have been all along. D. Gordon's been a much better player than Malik Smith. You put him in the leadoff slot, but whatever. Zunina hit a bomb tonight. Like I said, Didi Gregorius is just sitting there in a lot of leagues because the All-Star break, before you know it, it'll be July.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that.
If you have big benches, or if you have, DL slots, put them in there. Johnny, you could pick up Kipnis. He's available in a lot of leagues.
You're an idiot.
One of your...
Yeah, one of my favorites for sure.
One of your Bedards.
Yeah. Eric Bedard. Yeah, he. Go ahead.
Nick Pivetta is. I think he's still in the minors, but
he is.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen the last of Nick Pivetta this year.
No, I agree. I don't think we have.
Keep an eye on him.
Obviously, Tuki Toussaint's up. Maybe you look at him even if he is.
They say he's going to start. Yeah, he's starting in the bullpen, but
but he's too good to stay there.
Yeah, and
obviously you have to look at Sean Kelly with Leclerc looking crappy.
Yeah, Sean Kelly. If you want to go closer, Diego Castilla.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gotten in the last 4 days. He's gotten 2 saves. I mean, I don't know why they're doing it because Alvarado. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with closers this year. I mean, obviously, I did that in one of our up years segments. I mean, the closer position is just. I don't know if these managers. They're trying to reinvent the wheel. That's the problem. They're taking their best pitcher and they're using them in situations, but not all of them, because Chapman still is just the closer in the 9th inning, He doesn't come in the 7th inning to get out a tough lefty. That's not what you do. You got Zach Britton for that, So, this closer position, but I would definitely look at Diego Castilla. Alex.
How about Samardzija?
Yeah, I'm picking him up tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good, but where are his strikeouts right now?
I don't know, but his ERA is.
It's great.
I have no idea what's happening with him, but what's going to happen is next start he'll strike out 10 and then give up 6 runs or something. And I'd rather have him like this.
One strikeout through 5 innings? I don't think so.
Yeah, but if he gives up no runs, I'll take it.
Yeah, but 1 strikeout?
Yeah, 1 is ridiculous, but that's an anomaly. He hasn't been striking out a lot, but that's...
Do you pick up a Nick Anderson to balance him out?
Yeah, that guy's another guy. When they trade Romo,
yep.
When they trade him, he's going to be the closer. Remember, I was joking about Alcantara or something like that, but Nick Anderson's killing it.
Yeah.
But speaking about pitchers, we're going to look at our...
let's take a look at that. We, some deep guys that we talked about. I guess the first one that I talked about was Waka, and I basically said that injuries were my concern. If he was healthy, I thought he'd do well, and outside of 1 bad outing, that's kind of what he's been doing. He's been doing well as long as he wasn't injured. He's already had a little DL stint somewhere in there, I think, right? He was on the IL for a little while.
Yeah.
Missed a start or 2.
Yep.
Beyond that 1 bad outing, and you take that 1 game out of there, and he looks much, much better. I can't do the math in my head quick, but 5 total earned runs in 4 games.
Yeah.
If you take that 1, 7-run debacle out of the system, so for a late guy, I count that as a win.
Unfortunately, there's no mulligans in fantasy baseball. But.
No, but you might have not played him that game because he was pitching against the Dodgers. So you might have actually not had that in your lineup. I know I didn't have it in my lineup. I got lucky.
Well, I wouldn't have that bum on my team, so.
Well, I put my money where my mouth is, and he's on my team, so.
Yeah.
He's on my team in a bunch of places.
I put my money where my mouth is, too. And unfortunately in some, and fortunately in others. In fact, some, I put my money where my mouth is. I drafted him in almost every league. He got bombed. I dropped him in almost every league. And then I proceeded to pick him up again in almost every league, and now he's doing exactly what I thought he was going to do. That would be Luke Weaver. he got bombed early on. Then he started pitching good. Right now he's doing what I thought he was going to be doing. The two pitchers that I picked that are absolutely getting tattooed. One is in the minors. And actually, I even said this one really isn't a sleeper because his average draft position was too high. But Nick Pivetta.
Yeah.
So I did have that caveat. Since you have one, I have a caveat as well. And that was everybody's pick as a sleeper as well. This year with all his metrics and everything, they were saying this guy's going to be the second coming. Well, he was the second coming of Zach Godley, who was my other pick. Zach Godley now has been moved to the bullpen. So those are my two that I definitely underperformed on. Jeff Samardzija not getting the strikeouts I thought he was going to get. But
I have Aaron Sanchez in the same boat.
Yeah.
Good ERA, not getting the strikeouts. So,
yeah.
He's never really been a strikeout pitcher like Samardzija was, but
yeah, he never was exactly. But
he's got a good ERA. It's a little over 3.
Yeah.
I still put that in the win column if you had to ask me which one I was leaning towards. Another player that I had on my list was Sonny Gray as a late pick, and he's performing fairly decently.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a guy I would, I understood the whole premise behind it. Didn't really agree with it, as far as him, getting out of New York. I thought he was using that as New York as kind of like a scapegoat, especially when he started pitching halfway decent, saying that, the Yankees fell in love with this pitch and making me throw that pitch. You know what? You're doing good. Just shut your mouth and,
Yeah.
pitch. I hate guys like that. But, in fairness to him, he is doing better.
Yep.
Probably, as far as performance goes, other than his last start, Marcus Stroman has been, probably my most consistent guy out of this list.
Yeah.
Stroman's pitching really good this year. I mean, he's not getting wins because he's on that team, which I also said,
Yeah. Yep, that's definitely a tough team to get wins for.
Yeah, well, you said the same thing about Sanchez, so. Aaron Sanchez.
Yep. I'm trying to look for other... I don't think I mentioned some of these guys on the air, but I have a list a mile long of guys that I thought about talking about. Caleb Smith, and I actually had Cal Quantrill on here as a possible guy to look at as coming up, and he just made his first start.
That's another guy we forgot to talk about.
He pitched already. He pitched
how did he do?
2 days ago. 5.2 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 Ks.
Yeah.
He took the loss, but,
Canning also was another guy that came up.
Yeah, he got canned, didn't he?
No, he actually pitched good. He struck out 6 really fast, and then I gave up 2 or 3 runs in 4 2/3 innings. He didn't get canned. He's going to pitch again, so he's not pitching this weekend. But they said in the Detroit series, he actually pitched good. I mean, his numbers don't show it as good as how he pitched.
Yeah, 4 hits, 1 walk. That's not bad. Striking out 6 and 4.1.
Yeah, exactly. And the 6 he got really quick too. Now the other guys I mentioned was Jimmy Nelson, who hasn't pitched yet, and you mentioned him as well, but I stole him. You couldn't say it. I said it first, and then I said Colin McHugh, Peacock, Josh James, and Wade Miley. Josh James, whichever one of those we're going to get the 4th and 5th starters, which turned out to be McHugh and Peacock. And Wade Miley, I threw him. I said Wade Miley's going to screw it up by signing for them. But, I mean, McHugh's doing halfway decent. Peacock, he's had good games and he's got bombed. Like yesterday. You watch yesterday's game? He breezed through 3 innings against the Twins, and then just got his ass handed to him. So, so whatever. I had John Gray, Tyler Glasnow, Brett Honeywell, like you did with De Leon. Obviously, you had Glasnow, but those guys are too high up there. So,
yeah, they are. Yeah, I don't have any. I looked at Lucchesi as a later guy. I don't own him anywhere, so I don't even know how he's doing this year, honestly. Not great. One guy that we should probably mention is Darvish. We were both kind of higher on him than the consensus.
Talk about somehow just losing total control of his command the first 3 or 4 starts. I'm like, what in the heck is going on?
And hasn't really gotten better. He's 3
he's
or 4 walks. 3 or 4 walks.
He had 7. He had 7 in his first start. I mean, he's definitely gotten better, but not the way you want him to be. But I have him as my 5th, 6th starter. Let me see.
I was just gonna say, is he a guy that you look to own now? But you do own him.
I own him. Yeah, I mean, I drafted him. I'm going to drop him. Who am I going to go pick?
You own him in both the leagues that I was going to ask you.
No, I own him in my league.
You don't own him in mine?
No.
You sure?
Positive. I traded him, remember?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Tom owns him.
Anyways, his last start, 6 innings, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts. I mean, I know he had 4 balls, but 4 balls. No wonder he's a freak. Against Pittsburgh, he had 0 walks. I mean, basically, he's a guy who's not going to give up a whole lot of hits, but he's going to screw himself up by giving too many walks. I don't understand how that happens like this. Later in your career, you're supposed to get better at this,
Well, he had the injuries that kind of derailed him with that, so
yeah.
I think primarily it's injuries to blame for his issues.
Funny part, if it wasn't you, Darvish, I dropped a guy I shouldn't have dropped, but I just, one game he faced 8 batters and didn't get any of them out, and I dropped him. Mets. I should have kept him over Darvish.
Yeah.
Mets.
Yep.
But, Darvish, he's one of those guys that I said, I do believe I said that, even though, I think I warmed up to him as the podcast went on before we drafted. I believe in our first podcast I said I won't own him ever again. And, what the hell was that kid?
Oh, you're full of shite.
Yeah. So I'm trying to see in the Met game, 1 inning did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, good. So Woodruff is in line for the win. That's the guy I picked up for tonight's game.
Nice. Good for Woodruff.
And I already picked up Lance Lynn for tomorrow.
So, Matt, do we have any other of our, pitching picks that we want to? Or
nah, we could go on about guys, but if I didn't say it in my thing, I'm not going to say it now. But obviously there was other pitchers, like Marco Gonzalez, that I liked. But, like you said, Caleb Smith, absolutely. I did like Pablo Lopez, who's not doing that good, but I didn't mention him. So,
yeah, I have a list a mile long of guys that I was, thinking about, but, didn't end up choosing to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's always that way. There's way too many players to select them all to talk about. And, sometimes you find out that it's a good thing that you didn't talk about them. Like I had Michael Pineda on my, guy to watch list, and, thankfully I chose not to
the thing is,
him.
if you watched him early on this year, a lot of people were talking him up. and it was like, I think it was his best outing. And after that outing, he got just pummeled after that.
Yeah.
You can never trust Pineda. You know? The Seattle traded him to us for Montero, that catcher that was supposed to be something good. And the Yankees got rid of their junk, and we took Seattle's junk, basically, is what happened.
Yeah. You know? Yep. That frequently happens. So, Matt.
It happens all the time in fantasy. We do that all the time.
Yeah.
I got junk on my team. I'll take your junk and just hope that one of them works out. Like Puig.
Yeah.
On your team.
Yep. So, it looks like we're running out of things to talk about here. So, I want you to... we forgot to do it last week, mostly because we were both brain dead, and, I almost hope people missed last week's episode because it was less than desirable. Anyways, I want to talk about, our new favorite segment that we forgot to talk about last week, which is affectionately called Up Yours. And as we found out in the the Farrell Roundtable on Saturday late afternoon, it's frequently followed by "I'll rip your face off."
That and you're a pain right up my keister.
Pain right up my ass. So anyways, Start us off, Matt.
Yeah, well, mine this week is, and I mean, I've mentioned it before, and I promise no longer on one of these segments will I mention anything about this guy, and I'm done with him. A.J. Pollock. Here's what I think of A.J. Pollock. Every year it's the same thing. I owned him 2 years ago when he jumped. Was he diving for a ball? He broke his elbow or something like that, and then they put that plate in his elbow, and he came back at the end of the year or something like that. So now this year he's hitting nothing. Nothing. He has. I mean, I got to bring his stats up. They're horrible. Now let me check my IL list. Oh, there he is. Imagine that. There he is, Pollock. He is hitting 230, 223 with 2 home runs and 14 RBIs, and a whopping 0 stolen bases. Now, when you draft A.J. Pollock, do you think you're going to get some stolen bases? Yes, you're going to get some stolen bases.
Yeah.
The one thing that you should know you're going to get from him is a trip to the IL. Once again, he got me. So now that plate that they put in his elbow 2 years ago that screwed me, now is screwing me once again. So now it's causing an infection. So they go in to do like some sort of exploratory surgery, take a look at it. Now they took the thing out. Right now he's on antibiotics. So you know what that's going to be followed by? Probably some serious infection. Here's what I say about A.J. Pollock. Here's the new thing for you. Here's your new procedure that you need to get. It's called a colonoscopy. That's what you need to get. You give him a colonoscopy, and then you'll see what's wrong with him. Because that guy, here's what I think of A.J. Pollock. Up yours. Never again. Never. I will trade him right now to anybody who is willing to give me anything. I don't care. Jeff Francoeur? You got Jeff Francoeur out there? I'll take him.
I don't, but I'm sure I have somebody.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I mean...
How about the Seattle relief pitcher, Roenis Elias?
Yeah. You ever watch wrestling, Elias? No, I don't want him, but you get my point. Never again. A.J. Pollock, up yours. That's what I say.
So I just sent you a trade for Pollock. Anyways, while I feel your pain... I don't own Pollock anywhere this year, so I do not echo your sentiments. And I actually would like to. I would like to acquire him. So
the value I got. Let me see when I drafted Pollock. It has to be like the 10th round or something like that, right? I hope. Don't make it even worse. I'll have to go on another 7th round. It is worse. Still good value for that guy. I mean,
yeah, it should have been. Yeah.
But it isn't good value because this is what he does every year. Now, I'll give him credit. In the past, he put up numbers before he went on the IL. This time, no numbers before the IL, you know?
Yeah.
0 stolen bases. Now, if your elbow hurts, right, is that going to stop you from running?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't.
No. So what is going on? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Anyways.
So, I probably won't be as animated because I'm not nearly as angry about my up yours. However...
You think a colonoscopy is too strong? I forgot to say, don't knock him out for it, though. That's what I meant to say, but...
Give it to him while he's awake.
By the way, you're 40, right? Aren't you supposed to get one soon, or is it 50?
Shut your trap there, Farrell.
Yeah, that's right.
Only because of your father's history am I supposed to get one at 40.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you...
The polyp king.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little story about... you remember what happened with my father with the polyp, right?
The one that had the...
he was getting... Now, this is a true story, though. No lie. He was
the
getting
one that was biopsied?
Yeah, he was getting a colonoscopy, and when he woke up, the doctor tells you, you had one polyp, no polyps, whatever. So he told my father he had a polyp, but the problem was he dropped it. My father's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I couldn't locate it after I dropped it. So my father had to check his stool for the next few days, and then if he finds the polyp, he's going to send it in to get a biopsy on the thing, right? So he sent it in. He found it. My father's very diligent. Probably used my mother's colander, probably is probably how he did it. We probably ate spaghetti out of that the next day, knowing my father. But anyways, he found the polyp, and he sent it in to get a biopsy on it. Came back, it was an onion. True story. It could only happen to one of us. But I actually had a colonoscopy.
You loved every minute of it?
Yeah, no, I requested not to be put to sleep for it. No, but I also had the endoscopy or whatever it's called, endoscopy, where they put one in your mouth and then they put one up the other end. So it's funny. You go for
isn't that called like double penetration?
Exactly. So believe me, you know my sense of humor. I'm in there and I can't even keep a straight face. So they get me bent on, lay on your side, and they put this plastic piece in my mouth because they're going to put that tube going down my mouth, right? So then I have to say to the lady, and there's like 10 people in there, like they're all sitting around while I was watching you. I said, can I ask you a question? Do you have one of these plastic pieces on the other end too? They all start laughing, and then you wake up in the other room farting, because that's what happened. You just wake up. Everybody in the whole room, everybody's farting. It's hilarious. Best sleep of your life, though.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. You wake up, you're like, oh, God, great sleep. Anyways, that was my up yours.
Literally. And figuratively. Literally. So, like I said, I'm not going to be quite as angry as yours, but I'm kind of, mad at Major League hitters overall. Do you know that the average, the Major League batting average right now is below 250? And that's absurd. These are Major League Baseball players. These are supposed to be the best hitters in the world, and their average collectively is like 245 right now. Like, how ridiculous is that? Yeah. The best hitters in the world, and they can't hit 300. They can't even hit, 3/10 of the time. Not even a third of the time they're up at the bat, like up at the plate. Like, come on, Major League Baseball players, and their batting average is below 250. Mendoza line, that's going to be the new norm. It's ridiculous. Up yours hitters, learn how to freaking swing the bat.
True, and you know what? In fairness to them, they're not expected to hit anymore. They don't care. Hit a few home runs, and you bat 250. Hit 30 home runs and strike out 200 times, and you're going to get $30 million for the year. That's what happens.
Ridiculous.
It's sickening. It is
ridiculous.
Sickening. It is.
It's ridiculous. Anyways,
you're right. You know what? You just pissed me off too. Up theirs. I agree with you.
Up every one of theirs. If you're not hitting above 270, I don't want to know you. going to be my new mantra next year.
Yeah.
Forget everybody who's hitting below 270. I'm not drafting them.
That's right. I did that a couple years on my pitching. I refuse to draft anybody with a whip over 118. I refuse to. And I don't know why I stopped doing that, because it works. It does, because guys that have low whips usually are good in all their other stats, usually,
At least if they have a blow-up, they don't get totally blown up.
Yeah, they're not walking. I mean, they may get hit once in a while, but they're not walking the freaking place,
Yeah, something to be said for that.
Yeah.
Anyways, Matt, it's been fun. It's, 10:35, so we're actually checking off a couple minutes earlier than we usually do, which is kind of nice. I had the week from hell, so I want to hit the hay. Anything you want to add or talk about really briefly before we...
No, just that I promise I will no longer bring up my injured guys on the Up Yours segment. That's all. I'm done with it.
Liar.
I've learned my lesson. I will never complain about... by the way, my first pick in my league was Trey Turner. My second was Aaron Judge, and they're both sitting comfortably on my IL.
Yeah, I have a league where my first pick was Aaron Judge. My second pick was
Stanton,
and my third pick was Severino.
Well, I told you in my Fantrax league, my name of my team is Bronx Bombers, and I picked... I don't know who I picked first, I forget, but Judge was my second pick, and Stanton was my third pick. And so I must have had I don't know what pick I had. But anyways, the people said when I picked them, well, you definitely named your team right. Bronx Bombers, and I don't think I have Severino in that league, but I think at that point Severino... and that's another that really Severino, that hurts the Yankees bad. I mean, if Paxton has anything wrong with him, they have 0 aces. What's Tanaka our ace?
Yeah.
You need an ace. That's...
Yep.
That's definitely gonna hurt big time.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that wraps it up. You need an ace. Keep your whip under 118.
And that's the high
batting average over 270, and you're going to win your fantasy games, fantasy teams, fantasy leagues.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you for joining us today at Letty Melnick FantasySports.com. This is Feral Fantasy Baseball signing off.
Take it easy.